Hey guys, how are you? This is Nina Perez and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for being here. Now, if you are new here, we are here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Now, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe and like because we are trying to grow this community. And I always try to find like really great people on the planet who want to come here and share some nuggets and knowledge with you to transform the way you think. So today I found Jenny, and Jenny is a certified coach and she runs her own coaching practice called River Life Coaching. Jenny is also a qualified lawyer in the UK, Singapore, and Malaysia. And she's very passionate about coaching introverted individuals to be more visible on their own terms and to empower them to live fully and joyfully, which can be a challenge if you're somebody who is introverted, right, Jenny? So, Jenny, thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Hi Nina, thanks for having me. And I was watching the introductory video. I was like, wow, nice music. Are we gonna go into a dance? and
Yes.
it's very catchy, and I'm honored to
Thank
be on
you.
your show.
Thank
Thanks
you.
thanks for the very nice summarized introduction. Now I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to add to that? It's all there, right? So Jenny's a lawyer, Jenny's a life coach, and I'm living in Singapore, and it's
Mm.
amazing how we connected. And I'm also a mother of three. I have a teenager and two preteen daughters, so
Oh
life is
boy.
quite full.
A little bit. Yeah. That's amazing. Are all three girls? All three?
No, the eldest is a boy, so he
Okay.
turns 17 this year. So I don't know whether you can see
Wow.
on the video. I do have gray hairs coming out, and I can attribute it to him.
I have lots. I get it. I have three boys and a girl. Totally get
Oh,
it.
oh man, you're ahead of me.
Very much so. But Jenny, I really like what you stand for too. I was looking at your profile, browsing a little bit. I know this is the first time that we're meeting, but
Mm,
I resonate a lot with what you were saying. And so I know that on your site, which is something, it's funny because I was just doing a live the other day and I talked about how something was still missing even in my
mm,
life, right? And I really wanted to talk to you about that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about I know you're coaching now, but and you're a lawyer, but what was it that transition for you? What were you going through that you felt like there has to be something here? So what was that for you?
Yeah, thanks, Nina. That is my story. So, I went into law. There are no other lawyers in my family, as far as I can remember. I went into law. I guess I was very naive then. I thought that this was the profession to help people. So, helping people has
Mm,
always been in my heart. And I'm not saying that lawyers don't help people. We just do it differently. I guess that's not that because I'm a corporate lawyer. So there's not that
okay.
individual touch. I do help people, the organization, but somehow you don't feel that individual impact. Yeah.
Right, right.
So I'm also a Christian. I was first exposed to coaching in an organization I was working for. They gave us some coach training to help us to become better managers and supervisors. And
Oh,
I
great.
thought, okay, good. I can enhance my listening skills, be more empathetic. And then I said, okay, fine, that's a good skill to have. And then I'll
Mhm.
just park it aside because I've got a job, I've got three kids, life is very full.
Right.
And the feeling was always there, but Nina, you just push it away. It's like, okay, another time. Are you sure not seriously gonna do this, right? Why rock the
Right.
boat? Why get out of my comfort zone? Then possibly it was around December 2018 when I felt this desire in me grow even stronger, that every time something about coaching or I read something or I hear something, that I get this prompting, like, Jenny, why aren't you doing it yet? That
Mm.
I really tried to push it down, push it down. It got so
Mhm.
uncomfortable. It just felt like what I wrote about on my About Me page, that something was missing, something is not quite right. And the more I try and
Right.
think about it, what is it? And then finally I told my husband, I need to do this. And my husband's like saying, are you sure? Why not just keep it a hobby? Let's not change
Right.
anything,
He's like, "You're
right?
a lawyer, woman."
And to your listeners out there, when you have a family and you have a mortgage and you have bills, you're like,
Right.
what are you doing?
Mhm.
Don't do this,
Mhm.
you know.
That's so
But
funny.
I said I need to give this, I need to see where it goes, because otherwise the what if is going to kill me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even if I push it away, it just felt like almost a sense of I am losing something. And it's so strange, Nina, because I didn't even do anything yet, but I just felt
Right.
like I'm losing
Right. I
something.
totally understand what you're saying. I do.
So
Yeah.
I went into coach training. I did a coach training for about a year. It was with an Australian school. They were already doing it virtually.
Mm.
And it's amazing how God opens up doors for me. So I was speaking to the salesperson, and I had three very long calls with her, asking all sorts of questions. And I found out later that she's not a believer, but she said, Jenny, I've answered all your questions and even more. Why don't you take this leap of faith? And she used that. I'm like,
Right.
okay, God, you're even using people not of the same faith to tell me to take that leap of faith. So I did
Right,
it.
right, right. That's
So
fun.
this was all 2019. I studied while I was still working. So you can
Mhm.
imagine me
Mhm.
being in the train, taking the, the lessons in the train, coaching
Right.
at night, telling my girls, okay, wait for a bit. Mommy's got to do coaching, get them to bed, and then jump back in. So
Right.
it's long hours, but I was so passionate about it, I didn't feel tired. And
Mhm.
so finished the coach training, had plans to launch my business in 2020, all good, right? Planning and everything. And then the
Right.
pandemic hit, and I asked God, okay, what's this? I did
Right.
all this. So what's this? Do I launch it? And I reflected, he first planted the seed in me in 2015. I didn't do anything. So why do I still wait? So again, this time I pushed
Right.
myself. I launched the business in
Good
April
for you.
2020, thinking
Mhm.
then that COVID was just the flu, right? It will only last 2 months, maybe. Then, after that,
Everybody
it'll be
thought that.
fine.
Everybody.
So my coaching has been online ever since. It's got its ups and downs, definitely, but
Yeah.
I'm still growing the business, and I'm appearing on shows to get listeners to know the importance of coaching. It doesn't matter if you don't want to partner with me. I just want people to know that you're
Yeah.
not alone. If you
Yep.
feel like no one understands you, just reach out to someone, whether it's a
Mhm.
therapist or a coach. I can explain later what the difference between a therapist and a coach,
Yeah, I
if
want you to do that.
yeah,
Mhm.
so that people don't get confused. But basically, just go and ask for help.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. And I'm still coaching women primarily. I do have male clients, but I guess you resonate with the people you like, right? So
Yeah.
somehow when you're
Yeah.
partnering with a coach, naturally, I don't know, younger women tend to resonate with me. So
Mhm.
I'm happy
Mhm.
with that. So I pause here and see what do you have to say.
Yeah, no, that's really, really good. I mean, you touched on a lot of things, but here's the thing. I don't think, that it was a mistake that you started in 2019. Yeah, God might have been prompting you then, but I also think it's also like the way he's so patient, right? So he gives you like a small seed and he lets you kind of like stew in it for a little bit. And like you said, at one point you're like, okay, I can't take it anymore. I'll do it. I'll do it. I've had those conversations with God myself. And here's the thing though. I think that you and I and all the coaches that have popped up in this last year and a half, it's because it's necessary. With the pandemic, right? A lot of people have done pivoting, a lot of people have shifted, and a lot of people feel like they don't know what's missing. You know what I mean? Like they know that something's missing, they just don't know what that is. And that's where you step in, right, Jenny? Because that's what you're trying to do is guide people that have this point where they feel like something's missing because you felt like something was missing, right? Did you feel like now that you are at that place where you are walking in what you're called to do, like do you feel like that piece that was missing is now filled? Do you feel that way?
Yes, it's not missing anymore.
Oh, good,
Although
good.
Nina, there are moments when I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And that's when you
Right,
reconnect back with your purpose. Because as running a business, we've all got ups and downs. We've got periods
right.
when they're like, hello, it's like silent, there's no one. And then you've got busy periods, and you're looking at your
Yeah,
calendar
yeah.
and thinking, oh no, where's this free spot? So it's ups
Right.
and downs. And
So
I
true.
think to keep that balance, I always reconnect my purpose. On days when I'm really tired, I ask God, okay, what's going on here?
Mhm.
My own cup is empty, so I need to just stop. So there are days when I just don't coach, especially on Sundays I don't coach. And
Yeah, me neither.
yeah,
Yep.
and then just rest and spend time with my kids, and just spend time alone. You can't be with
Mhm.
people all the
Mhm.
time, more so when you're an introvert.
Right,
So
right,
yes, knowing your purpose clearly, being clear helps, but it doesn't mean that your life is going to be rosy just because being, I know my purpose, I'm a coach.
right,
Oh, everything's like Pollyanna right now. No, it's
right.
still tough, but I do feel life is more meaningful, and I feel that this is what I'm meant to do in this season of my
Mm,
life. I like to say that I don't know what will happen 5 years from now, but right
right.
now in this season, feel very fulfilled. Yeah, tired.
So
Yes, there are times I'm really tired, but I still feel
yes,
very fulfilled.
I so resonate with your story, Jenny, because I do work full time. I'm a director of culinary operations. I've been an executive chef for years, and so I work really hard, long hours, and then I come in the evening and I'm coaching my clients, and I'm working late at night, and I do my podcast, and I do all this other stuff, and I do cooking parties for kids. I like have like my hands in everything, and so I do get that. You do have lulls, you do have ups and downs. I do like your spin though, because I haven't really met a coach yet that's working with introverted individuals. So that's very interesting. I want to know a little bit more about that. Like, were you an introvert as well, and that's why you
I
resonate with
am.
this? You are
now
an
I'm
introvert.
now
Okay.
I'm like proudly coming out to say I am. I'm
Oh,
an
good.
introvert.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me how then, as an introvert, right? So tell me, how are you then doing your coaching client, like how do you get out of your own introvertness, if you will, to do your coaching and all of that? Because I have like family members who are very introverted and really do like to be on their own by themselves reading their books. They don't want any of this that I'm doing. They're like, you're crazy, you know. So how do you do that? How are you, coaching these individuals and yourself, right? Because sometimes we got to coach ourselves. How are you doing that?
Good question. So when I was young, I was shy, and I've always been an introvert, but I didn't know that because you don't know how to label it. And then I
Right.
felt when I was a young lawyer, I felt like a bit awkward because I am good at what I do, but at the same time, I was I'm a trial attorney, so I was appearing in court and things like that. But after that, I just want to run away. Whereas the other
Right.
lawyers like to hang out, let's go for a drink. I'm like, can I not go for a drink? And I felt like
Right.
something's wrong with me,
Right.
right? This is why don't I want to hang out with people? And I couldn't
Right.
understand it. Then
Right.
when I discovered what an introvert is, it resonated with me because it's not so much about not wanting to be with people, it's
Right.
your energy level. So Nina, if you're an extrovert, your energy level gets recharged when you are with people, not say with
Right.
a lot of people, but maybe with two close friends. You find that
Mhm.
you just have to keep going because your energy is like a drug. You just get so energized. For introverts, we love our friends, we have very deep one-to-one relationships, but at the same time our energy is drained very fast when we're with people.
Mm.
So we need to understand that, get recharged, and then, come out again. Yeah. So you
Right.
asked me, how do I put myself out as an introvert? It takes a lot of courage actually because it's
Yeah.
going against the character. The short answer is I reconnected with my purpose to be a life coach and to reach out to people who need to
Mm.
hear this, who need to know that they're not alone. If they're asked to be
Right.
more visible in the workplace, or they're holding back because they're scared of stepping out their comfort zone, they need to hear it, that you don't have to do big amazing things, just take that one small step out, whatever
Yeah.
it is. And that I felt that if I'm holding that back, then someone's losing out, right? Not hearing it. So why
Mm.
am I so focused on myself? So every time I hold myself back, I ask, is it I'm focusing on myself, my fears of being judged, or, how about if I focus outward to that one
Right.
person who needs to hear this message? And then when I think about that, I'm like, okay, there's no stopping me because that
Right.
person needs to hear,
That's
right?
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a matter of focus. It's good to be reflective, as introverts all do. I mean, people all reflect, right, to a certain
Mhm.
degree. But if you spend too much time reflecting and reflecting, you're not going to do anything.
That is so true. That is so true. Because when you start to reflect, then you also start talking yourself out of things, right? You start becoming fearful and you start like making excuses that you don't even realize you're making, but you're just trying to you're talking yourself out of it because you're uncomfortable. And sometimes change can be very uncomfortable. Do you have like tips or tools or something that you use with your introverted clients, or any client really, to try to connect with a purpose? Like, is there a way or tools that you let them that you help them with to connect with a purpose? Because sometimes I think what's missing is that they don't even know what that is, right? So do you have like a system or tools or something that you're using to do that?
Okay, good question. Well, my company is River Life Coaching, and
Yeah,
I
oh, I
came
love
up
that.
with the name
Hmm.
because during my coach training, we were supposed to do a coaching model, and some of my peers were coming up with really nice acronyms, and I was thinking, okay, acronym, let's try and see what acronym. I can't come up with an acronym that's smart, and so I'm like, okay, that's not me. Then I asked God, so what is it? And I know it sounds so cliche now that I'm saying it. It came to me just like that. I know
Well,
if
it's
I
not
tell someone
cliche. Yeah,
else,
that
no,
happens.
someone else, if they ask me, they're like, "Oh, what type of books do you read? What research do you do?" I,
Oh
I don't,
yeah,
I can't remember exactly how I did the work. I did the research. I read and I studied, but somehow it came to me. Maybe one night,
right.
I think the image of the river, and I started researching how a river is geographically and then how it works. And the river comes from the river source, and use it as an analogy of your life. Your river source are your values. So to discover what your values are, and then from your
That's
river source,
beautiful.
that's how your river flows. All of us
Hmm.
want to have a smooth flowing river that enriches everything around it. Unfortunately, there are times our river is slow, is shallow, meanders, get stuck by boulders and rocks, and then sometimes it's rapids, right? You can't
Yeah,
stop your river.
yeah.
So I use that analogy to get clients to visualize, oh, how is
That's
their
actually
river
really
of
good.
life right now? Yeah.
Right.
and
It's
and
good.
so the starting point is value. So a lot of times I ask women what your values are, and they'll
Mm,
go straight to their professional attributes and strengths. Oh, I'm a good problem solver. I'm very good in decision making, and I'm very analytical. Great, those are your strengths, but more of a professional work situation. What are your values? What causes you joy? So it's simple
right.
words like love, friendship, and things like that. So you don't have to think
Right.
too hard. Just connect with it. It's amazing once you just connect with a simple word like that. It opens up your mind to think like, oh, so that's why that situation didn't feel right, because I'm a person of love, and if it's against love, it could be someone treating someone unkindly, and it gets to you.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not saying that love is the only value. So
Right.
you have a lot. So I have coached one client. She came up with the word justice, and I said, "Oh, but she's not a lawyer." So I'm thinking, "Oh, okay. So where is this coming from?" And then she
Hmm.
said that I want everyone to be treated equally, and I think in her role she didn't see that happening, not to herself, to someone
Right.
else, but she felt so uncomfortable about it because it was going on everywhere. She decided, once she reconnected, I mean, she connected and discovered that justice was her core value. She started looking for a job elsewhere. It was just that easy, because all along she
Wow.
was thinking something's not
Wow.
quite right in my job. I can't quite place a finger on it. So I'm not saying once you have your core values, you quit your job, but it
Right.
gives you that clarity. Right, that
Right.
simple word gave her that clarity. She was already
Right.
not happy there, but she didn't know what it was and what to do about it. But by going through the coaching sessions with me, she realized that I cannot stay here anymore. And I recently connected with her, and she's now a manager of a team in a different organization. So I'm like,
Wow.
wow, okay, I can take credit for that, but it's just like, wow.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a beautiful thing. And like I constantly say this. Every coach needs a coach. Every person needs
Mm,
a guide, a mentor, a tribe, whatever you want to call it. Because I think that, Jenny, like you, like me, even though we're coaching people, we also need
yes.
coaches. We also need coaches. You know what I mean? Like we also need people in our life that are going to mentor us and do that. And I think, what you did, like, let's use the example you just used. All she needed was a little guidance, and I think that that's why the work you're doing is important, because a lot of people need to realize that they need just a little bit of guidance, just a little bit of guidance, right? So it sounds to me like you really work a lot on, like, well, values is obviously one of the things you
Mm,
work on, right?
mm.
What kind of like system do you take them through? So is it once you find your values, what are we doing with that?
Well, we just talked through about the specific goal in mind. But Nina, I'll pause here. So it's a nice. I just feel prompted to make this clear about the difference between counseling, coaching, and mentoring, so
Yes,
that
let's
your
do that.
listeners know.
Mm-hmm.
So counseling is it's also a profession that helps people, but it's more to deal with your emotional pain and trauma, and you
Right.
really go deep into what's causing you to feel stress or anxiety, and really digging deep to the cause, even going back to childhood. So I'm not saying
Right.
coaching doesn't doesn't do that. I mean, if you come to me and you say stress, we will go back and see where this stress first started, but we won't dwell there too far.
Right.
We will still then come back and say, what do you need now to get better? So there is an
Mm-hmm.
overlap. So I have coached people who are seeing therapists, which is great. So my ask is, if you are seeing a therapist and a coach, let both sides know, because at the end of the day, same issues will come up because they
Yep.
are coaching Jenny and they are, giving the sessions to Jenny, right? It's just that one person. So I tell them to just let both sides know. So at least we know that you are getting help on both
Right.
sides. And then mentoring, of course, is me sharing my advice and my knowledge to someone younger. So there is a difference in the hierarchy. Whereas for coach, it's like that. It's the same. You think of me more as your accountability partner,
I love that. Mm-hmm.
sounding board. So again, there are coaching tools, as you know, Nina, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
use any specific tool. I listen to what my clients need and I
Love it.
just meet my client there. So sometimes my client will just say that, I'm working from home. I want to spend time with my son, but I feel so angry because he comes in at the wrong time when I need to, get into a call with my manager. So
Right.
then there's guilt. So we will talk
Right.
about what is this guilt, and it's a very simple thing of just acknowledging yourself that this was a guy, just to acknowledge yourself that I am a good father. I am the best father I can be for my son, and it's
Mm-hmm.
fine. And it's also then
Mm-hmm.
after that we work more. So once he's acknowledged himself, there's this sense of peace, and the guilt has kind of subsided. I think the guilt will come back because Nina, parents, we all have
Oh, oh
parenting
yeah.
guilt, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
but
for
for
sure.
that time, he felt at peace, and then once he's more at peace, he can think clearer. We worked out strategies. Like, okay,
Good.
so what can happen the next time if your son wants to come in and you have a call? How can you manage his expectation, your expectation, and not get upset and be shot at him? Then after that, with the tools, he will walk away and experiment, and then he'll come back and tell me what worked, what didn't work, and then we'll celebrate the successes and analyze how could things be improved. But it's never, coaching space is beautiful because it's never judgmental. It's never
Right.
judgmental. And
Right.
to be honest, Nina, if you ask yourself, have you been truly heard by anyone outside a coaching session? Because we all listen to answer, right? If your
Mm-hmm.
husband's talking to you, you're listening to answer him. you
Yeah.
know.
True.
But in a coaching space, we don't listen to answer. We listen to understand. We listen to discover. And that I
Right.
think that's very powerful.
It is so powerful because most of the time in your life, when you're speaking to just individuals or people, they're quick to give you their thoughts, their advice, and you're like, I just wanted somebody to hear me, you know? And I do that with well, what do you want to work on today? Okay. Why do you want to work on that? Is that important to you? Like, like that kind of stuff. And you're right. I love the way you word everything because it just makes a lot of sense. Right. And I think I love that you also differentiated the three different levels, right? Because as a coach, too, like this person really doesn't need coaching as much as they need therapy right now, and that's important for people to know too, because sometimes they do look at us as therapists and we're not, and I don't want to even be called one because I'm really not certified for that. And so that's always a challenge also as a coach, to make sure that you know thyself. You know what I'm saying? That that you're not, if you are a therapist, then great, you are. But if you're not, know that, because you don't want to take on, and you probably have gone through this, where you don't want to take on a client that you can't serve, right?
And Nina,
Yep.
you can't serve everyone. You have to accept that. I know,
Exactly.
as when I first started out, I wanted to like help everyone, but at the end of
Yeah.
the day, come on, there are only uh certain types of people who resonate with me, and there
Yeah.
are certain types of people who resonate with you, Nina. So it's
Mhm.
perfectly fine. There are enough people out there to help.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. I mean, me and you are speaking from two different sides of the world right now, right? So there's
Yes.
obviously a lot of people to help. But I love what you're doing. I love that you have taken on this community of beautiful individuals who are introverted, because I think, at least my introverted, I'm going to just speak from my own experience with people. I'm very extroverted, right? So I have a lot, but I have family members and friends who are introverted. And I've learned throughout my years of experience to respect that and to realize that they're introverted, as opposed to saying, oh, you're a party pooper, or you can't, why don't you do this or do that? But the truth is they find me annoying. because I'm too extroverted, right? So they're like, "Oh my God, you're too much," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am too much. You're not enough. But let's just meet in the middle somewhere." The beautiful thing is though, is that what you're doing and the way you're coaching these people, you're coming from a place who understands that personality and understands maybe what they're struggling with. Like something you said like triggered for me was when you said after work they would want to go out for a drink, but I don't want to do that. Right.
And there's
And
not there's
so
nothing wrong. I mean,
there's
you
nothing wrong with
yeah.
that. Exactly.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think the struggle that we face is like the world is very loud and noisy, and sometimes
Yeah.
we feel that we don't quite fit in. So a tip that I got from the author Susan Cain in her book, the Quiet Power of Introverts, is that if you go to a party, which you have to go to, or you say you want to go to, give yourself a time limit. So you just say that, okay, I'm willing to spend all my energy for the next 3 hours, and when three
Mm,
hours comes, give yourself permission to go home.
I love
It's
that.
fine. Yeah. And I shared this with another podcast host who's an introvert. She's even better. She said, don't drink and drive your own car so that you don't have to depend on anyone. So when the 3 hours is up, she'll just get in her car and she'll drive off. Because if you come with,
Smart. It's
if
smart.
I go with you, Nina, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm stuck. Okay, Nina's not
Right.
moving. She's
Yes,
not going
that's
home. I'm
exactly
stuck.
right. That's exactly right.
So
I'm
it's
the
just like
last
I was
one
like,
to leave,
oh, okay,
Jenny.
that's an added strategy. So your listeners can say, okay, I'll give myself permission. That's
That's
2 or 3 hours, and arrange for transport to go home, so you don't have to depend on anyone. And there's
funny.
nothing wrong. That's nothing
Right.
wrong. And then as
Right.
for another client who said that, oh, I need to network, but I feel so awkward. So we set small goals. If you go to that party, what's your comfort zone? Then she said, I'm comfortable to speak to two. Then I said, let's try three. So give yourself a target. I'll speak to three people, and with each person, I'll learn something new. Or something unique about that person. So it's like
Mhm.
almost like a task oriented, right? So she
Mhm.
has to force herself to meet
That's
three
amazing.
people and then talk. Then after that, when she came back and she told me, she's like, actually, I spoke to five and it was really fun. So once you take that small step outside
Yeah.
your comfort zone, you
Yeah.
realize that what was I so afraid of? And it
Right.
empowers you and it gives you confidence. So I'm just telling people to take small steps. It's nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go and be like an
Like
Anthony
Nina. Don't be like Nina.
or Tony Robbins, right? Go and speak in front
Right.
of millions of people. You just need to
And
speak
you
to
know
three
what's
people.
funny? I think he just spoke recently and said he was an introvert too, that he has to hype himself up to go out
Yes.
to
Then
speak
I'm
to the
I'm sure
people.
after that he has to go into his studio
Yeah.
room and lock himself up or something.
Right. Right. Well, like you said, right, for an introvert, they need to recharge. And sometimes recharging means quiet time, quiet
Mm,
space for them. I'm learning all of that, right? Because my husband is an introvert and I'm very extroverted. So, I've learned to balance. I've been married 25 years. You learn to balance, you learn that, okay, he's hit 2 hours now. It's a little bit too much now. We got to go, because if it's me, 6 in the morning, I'm still at your house chilling if you let me. It's
You're an
so funny.
introvert's nightmare.
I am. I am. And so I've learned to like really like hone that in because he is introverted. He is, and that's
Mm,
fine. He really does recharge and thrive on his own. He's really good with that, right?
mm.
Where me, I'm like, "Woo, let's go. It's party time. It's like 20 people around. Let's do it." He's like, "Ah."
Well, I think Nina, introverts, extroverts, at the end of the day, we are all people and we shouldn't be boxed in. So there is always a
Exactly.
spectrum depending. If I'm speaking about coaching, I'm very passionate. If I didn't tell you I'm an introvert, you won't know because I'm speaking
Exactly.
about something that I'm very passionate about. I think the key here is understanding where the other person is coming from.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And
Mhm.
not judging. So, sometimes we we look at someone, if that someone is completely different from us, that's judgment. I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that, you're guilty of that.
Yeah.
But coaches, it doesn't mean that coaches are not without judgment. It's just that we recognize it and then we let go.
That's right.
We let go. So if I look at you, Nina, I'm like, oh, you're an extrovert. Okay, you're the worst nightmare for an introvert. That's a judgment. Although it's said jokingly, you
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
go. Then you
Yeah.
find out, who is really Nina.
Right.
How is she right now? And
Right.
then when you open up yourself to really being curious, that's when you really understand that person.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you connect. Then you see the humanity in everybody. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Coaching and being around human beings. It's a beautiful thing. So, Jenny,
Yes.
do you do most of your things online now? So, is everything pretty much virtual for you?
Yes, it's still online. Although some of my clients who have finished engagements with me and said, Jenny, can we meet up for coffee? Because in
Oh, I
Singapore, it's
love
still quite
that.
restrictive. But they want
Mhm.
to finally see me as opposed
In
to just being a
person.
shoulder up, right? They want to see me as
Yeah.
a person. So I recently caught
Right.
up with two of my former clients. It's
That's
really nice. They don't
wonderful.
they don't need me as a coach, but they kind of like want to report to me that they're doing well. This is good,
Oh,
and what you shared with me that many sessions ago, I'm still doing it. So it's almost like, checking in, keeping
yeah.
themselves
It makes
accountable
you
by
feel
talking
good
to me.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does make you feel good as a coach when you see people thriving like that. So I don't want to let you go because I know that
Okay.
there are people who are listening to my show. I know there's a bunch of you out there in my audience who are introverted or who have been trying to find the right coach. And I really want them to know where to find you, Jenny. So if you can give us like your website or your social media handles, whatever you want to share, for someone who may be listening and saying, I resonate with her and I really want to, I really want to get coached by her. So tell us about that, Jenny. Where can we find you?
Okay, we've already talked about it. I have a website, so it's www.riverlifecoaching.com,
River Life Coaching.
and you can find the business page on LinkedIn and Facebook, or you can also find me, Jenny Toh, Toh, on LinkedIn and Facebook. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here, though, to share it with my audience. You had a lot of gems to drop, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate your energy and how you speak about the differences in the different professions because that's super important, and also the way you spoke to people's life. Like if they feel like they're missing something, it's within them. They just have to look. They just have to look. And sometimes all you need is a coach to kind of help guide you and help you look there. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here on Street Talk. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. This has been really fun.
Oh, thank you. And guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope you really enjoyed this because I truly did. Make sure that you follow Jenny. I'm going to make sure to link everything right down there in the show notes so that you can click on it and go ahead and follow her. And if you resonate with Jenny and her message and what she's doing, I know I do. So go ahead and reach out to her because you might find the perfect coach for you. So thank you guys so much for being here. Neena Perez. Don't forget to like, share, and tell your people to come on in here and share this community with us because we are trying to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Until next time, guys.
This broadcast is brought to you by Winject Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.